Okay, so welcome back to the module 3 part 3. Okay, and let me open a new file. Okay, and in this we are going to talk about map, reduce and filter. Okay, so let me just say map, reduce and filter. Okay, this is a very important concept, guys, when we'll be dealing with because we will be dealing with a lot of other things on the map and reduce part. Okay, so module 3 part 3. Okay, let's save this. Okay, so lambda is an inline function. Okay, so basically we will be talking about that. And what lambda function uh, as so lambda functions are something without any name function. Okay, just a one liner function. Okay, it's a one liner function. So let's talk about this. Okay, let's say function without name is a lambda function. Okay, function without name is lambda function. Okay, and it's a one liner function, is one liner function. Okay, can take any number of arguments but evaluates only one expression. Okay, so can take any number of argument, okay, but evaluates only one expression. Okay, so we will see that, okay, how it works. Okay, and let's say, okay, let's say for an instance, okay, you have something called what do I want to say? Okay, so let me show something to you. Okay, so let's say you have something on 1 second, guys. Okay, so what you have is, let's say you have some numbers. Okay, num, and then you have in a list format 1 2 3 4 5, right? Now you define some lambda function. Okay, and you say num1 comma num2. Okay, now what it effectively does, okay, and you say something like this. Okay, num1 plus num2. Okay, so this is the expression which you wanted to evaluate. Okay, so what it will do, it will take 1 plus 2, then it will take 3 plus 3, then 6, then 6 plus 4, and then 10 plus 50. So it will recursively do this. Okay, and evaluates that expression. Okay, so very nutshell, we will be dealing more into that. Okay, so let's start off. Okay, so let me just do something. Okay, so let's say I have a square function. Okay, and what is this square function? It's a lambda function. Okay, which takes a number. Okay, and it basically does a square. Okay, so now if you see this, okay, right, so this is what the lambda function is all about, right? And what I'm going to do, I'm going to say print. Okay, and print is square of, I'm going to pass, let's say I'm going to pass any number. Okay, so square of 25. Okay, so I will evaluate this, okay, like this. Okay, since I have passed 25, okay, it will give me the square of 25 and print it. Okay, invalid syntax. So what is wrong with this, guys? So I said lambda, something is wrong with the spelling, guys. Okay, okay, lambda, now it is correct. Okay, so let's run this. Now if you evaluate, square of 25 is 625, right? I can evaluate square of any number, guys. Okay, so this is how the lambda function is all about. Okay, now the very first thing which I'm gonna, okay, so basically what it does, it takes a one variable and evaluates the expression. Okay, it can be so in this case the expression is num or square of num. It can be any function call also. Okay, now guys, let's see map, filter and all of this functions. So first thing which we are going to see is the map. Okay, what is common with map, filter and reduce function, guys? They will accept first parameter as a function, okay, and the second parameter as an iterable object, okay. It can be a list, tuple or a range, okay. So what we are saying is we all the three functions takes two parameters, okay. Okay, so that is what it will work like, okay. It will take two parameters. First is the function and second is the iterable object, okay. Now let's run through this, okay. Let's say I have to do the square list, okay. Now if I have to do a square list, okay, I'm gonna do two things. First thing, I'm gonna say my square, so this is the function, and then I'm saying, okay, my iterable object, which is nothing but 1 to 6, okay. So what it will do, it will calculate, okay, for this iterable object, it will pass through this function and then give me an output, okay. Now one important thing, guys, is this, okay. This square list right now it will return as a map object, okay. So let me just show it to you, okay. So when I'm gonna print this, okay, I'm gonna print this and say type, and I'm gonna pass this, okay, type of this. So let's run this. Invalid syntax, so something is wrong, guys. So what is the wrong? Type is okay, and so what is the problem? Okay, now it is fine, okay. So if you see this, it returns a class or a map object, okay. So now what I wanted to do is I wanted to convert this before it can be used, okay. So what I'm going to do, I am going to say is as a list, okay, and so entire things will be converted into the list and that will be shown to the output. Now if you see this 1, 4, 9, 16 and 25, so it takes a number 1, passes through this function called square and does a square and shows it to you, then passes 2, then 3, then 4, then the 5. So range is basic, when you say range from 1 to 6 is basically you're going from 1 to 5, right? And that is what the map function will do, okay. I can use, so this time I'm returning a class list, okay. I can call this as a tuple based on what I need as an output, okay. So I'm going to say, okay, my class this time is a tuple, okay. So I can return anything or tuple or a list, okay. So this is what about the map function, guys, okay. Now let me just do one thing, right? Okay, so the next function is a filter function, guys, okay. Now now when we talk about a filter function, guys, okay, so as the name suggests, okay, what filter will do, filters the elements of the list based on conditions, okay, or it can be tuple or list, anything, so basically it will do a filtering based on a condition. So let's say an example of a palindrome, okay. So let's say I have a list, okay, and in the list I wanted to check whether it's a palindrome or what all numbers are palindrome or not, okay. So let me first write a function, okay. So my function name is check palindrome, okay, and what this function does, it will take the word, okay, and what it will do, it will just evaluate word is equal to word, and as I said in my string class that this is what it will reverse read the string, right? So this is what my palindrome function is doing. Now now let me define something, okay. So it's a check palindrome function. Let me define my string, and this string I'm having some values, okay. Madam, Malayalam, okay, then Pearl, Hop, Pop, okay. So this is my string, okay. Now what I'm gonna do, okay, since my function is basically I'm gonna use a filter function that will only palindrome. So even those this list string has got so many this thing, okay, what I'm going to say, I'm going to return only the palindrome, okay. So now what I'm going to say is only palindrome, and I'm going to pass through my filter function, okay. Filter function, it takes two parameters, okay. So as the first parameter is this, okay, and second parameter is the iterable object, right? Okay, so it takes two parameters, okay, and I'm gonna now say, okay, and I'm gonna say print only palindrome, and I'm gonna say this, okay. So let me run this. Now if you see this, it returns a filter object. So let me also do a type of this, okay, so that so basically the type would be either a map or something. Okay, so class is filter class itself, okay. So last time it was returning a map class, this time it is returning a filter class, okay. So let me convert it, okay, so let me convert it to the list, okay, for the sake of this, okay. Now if I do this, okay, and if I run this, so I'm specifically typecasting to the list. Now if you see this, the output which I get is only palindrome from this, okay, right? So I'm what I'm getting is only the palindrome, okay. I can call a list or I can typecast to the tuple, whatever I want, okay. So basically what we finished here is filter is a function that filters the elements of a list or a tuple based on certain conditions, okay. So right now it is filtering for the list. I can have string as a tuple and then it can filter based on that, okay. What I can also do, okay, I can have a list of words, okay. I can ask user to enter a word through the input string, and then I can append that word to my string, and then I can also validate whether the new word is a palindrome or not, okay. So what we can do, okay, if I have to do something like this, and I'm gonna say word is equal to input, okay, enter any word, okay, and sorry, if, and I'm gonna say if not word, if word is not entered, then you basically break out of this, okay. So there is some break mechanism. Else what you do, string dot append, okay. So I'm gonna call this append. We have seen the append, okay. So now let's run this. So it asks for the word. I'm gonna say this word is hip, okay, pip, okay, then lip, okay, then I just do this. So now if you see this, it returns me a Madam, Malayalam, Pop and a pip, right? So it just appended everything to a string and then it gives me the output whether it's a palindrome or not, right? So this finishes up this filter functions, okay. Now the next one which we are going to cover is reduce function, okay, right? So what typically reduce does, right? So reduces the type iterable, okay, so to string or an integer, okay. So what does that mean is this, okay, consider you have a 5 elements in an iterable object, okay. So let's say 5 elements 1 2 3 4 5, okay. So and then so the first thing which I was showing you, right, num1 plus num2, right, and where you have to basically reduce that output to a single value, right. So in that case, okay, you can use a iterable object, or you can use the reduce function. Okay, so let's go through this. Okay, let's define a reduce. Okay, so basically what reduce does, reduce the type iterable to string or integers. Okay, okay, now let's have this function called factorial. Okay, so what this function is does, I'm having a lambda function. Okay, and I'm going to pass this. Okay, for the factorial, what I need to do is, okay, so let me pass this num comma num2. Okay, and what it does, it will do num1 multiply by num2, right. So that is what your factorial always does, right. Now let's run this. Okay, so what I'm going to say, I'm going to return this factorial. Okay, and I'm saying reduce. Okay, so this time I'm going to call reduce on the function, reduce on the function, and the range from, as I always do, from 1 to 6, right. Now let me run this. Okay, so let me run this for you. It will throw an error and we will see why. Enter any word, so it is still in enter. Now reduce is not defined, right. So if you see this, there is a function which is reduced, but it says it's not defined. Okay, so so where is this function available, right. So for this function to work, we need to do a import of a library called functools. Okay, this functool has this function called reduce. Okay, okay, and this functool, okay, is basically when we use this and call the reduce function, it will run simply fine. This is, let me print it, otherwise I'm going to print. Okay, and I'm going to say print fact. Okay, so right now I'm just printing this. So no module called functool, so there's something wrong. Functools. Okay, is it correct? Yeah, hopefully it is correct this time. Okay, now if you see this 120, so that is what the factorial value. Okay, factorial. Okay, so this is how you calculate a factorial. I can do anything with this. One second guys. Okay, so if you say factorial is 120, right, I can define a range, I can also define a list. Okay, let's say I have a list. Okay, I have a number list, and which has got 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, I can say in place of range I can pass a list. Okay, and I can always run this, right. So it returns me the same output, right. So this is what the factorial function is all about, guys. Okay, now we will be covering another important concept. Okay, which is, let me just do one thing guys. Okay, we are going to cover a last thing, okay, which is called a module. Okay, now in order to work with a module, okay, so what are modules, guys? So modules are a set of functions. Okay, so basically we have wrapped up certain lines of code and made a function, and now what we are going to do is next is to have all the basically all the functions into a separate piece and make a module. Okay, so let me call this, okay, so it's a part 3. Okay, so module part 3, and let me just save this file first. Okay, say I'm still going to save this with module part 3, and I'm going to say this common utils. Okay, so I'm going to save this as common utils. Okay, right, so let me save this. Okay, so what this common util basically will have is, if you remember, we had covered up something in the module 3 part 1. Okay, so let me just open it for you, and I had a function, okay, which function returns two variables, right? So what I'm going to do now is this, guys. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is copy the same function. Okay, so check mail id, I'm going to save this file. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do in this file, guys. So nothing else. Okay, now I have saved this module 3 part 3 and common util. Let me call another file. Okay, okay, or let me do one thing. Okay, let me use this. Okay, over here, okay, let us do one thing, and we will call this as calling functions. Okay, so in this calling function, okay, which is part of my module, what I need to do, okay, I'm gonna import similarly this module. Okay, so I'm gonna say import module 3 part 3 underscore common utils. Okay, so now once I import this module, okay, what I can do, I can simply say, okay, I can simply say, right, so basically what I'm going to say now is this. Okay, I am, so when I'm calling the functions, okay, so what I'm going to do is return underscore status comma mail underscore id, and I'm going to say this dot, what was the function name, guys? Check mail underscore id, and I'm going to pass this kumar@gmail.com, right? Okay, and as usual what I'm going to do is I'm going to print. Okay, I'm going to say print, and I'm going to print both of them. Okay, print return status and I'm going to print the mail, the mail ID. Okay, so these are the two things I'm going to return it. Okay, so let's run this. I don't need this, guys. Okay, so kumar@gmail.com is a valid email ID. Now if you see this, I have called this function. We are not defined in this file. It is part of a module which is separate, but we are able to call this function. Okay, so how else I can call this function? The another way to call this function as the alias, because this is very big, I can always say cu common utils. Okay, and what I'm going to do is this time I'm not going to type like this. I'm just saying cu dot this and run this part of the code again. It will give me the same output, right? The last way of calling any function, if I don't want to use cu at all, okay, what I can also say is this. Okay, I'm gonna say from this. Okay, so this is my file. From this file, import what? Check underscore mail underscore id, right? Now when I use this, okay, I can call this function without any alias also, and I can run this code. Okay, now if you see this, it gives me a valid email address. Okay, so guys, with this we come to the end of the session. Okay, one very small concept which I wanted to tell you is this common utils has to be in the same path, okay, where your code file is available. Okay, if it is not there, it will see into a different location. This different location can be library files. Okay, you have seen, right? So when we were importing, we will see later that when we were importing external utilities which are not available as part of package, it will be stored into the site packages objects. Okay, so something which we'll be talking about when we will be specifically dealing with the site packages. Okay, or the last thing, it can be defined into a environment variable called, we can define environment variable called Python path, and we can read it from there. Okay, so these are the three different ways, three different locations from where it will read the module file. Okay, first is the current location where the file is present, this file is present, and the module file is present in the same location. The second can be in the library path, okay, where your Python is installed, library path or the site packages. The third is the environment variable which is called Python path. Okay, so that is where it can be, it will read it from there. Okay, so with this we come to an end. Okay, in the next session we will be talking more about different Python concepts.